Hey, this is Christy, and you are following my journey in weight loss and sticking to routines. Even though I have ADHD and plenty of other excuses to fail, so we're still sampling out our bracelet series. I've been putting them on whatnot. I think the concept has been kind of confusing to people, and I wanted to kind of clarify. This is sort of a program that's designed to help people who have done everything that they need to do for their macros. They've worked it out. They know they're eating more protein. They know they're eating less fat. They know they're doing what their doctors told them or whatever to lose weight, and they're still not, and they don't know why. And a lot of times that is something, if we were to look at it from a dietary regulation stance, if we compared it to a regular amount of food per day, how would your amount of food, the volume that you eat, compare to that? So we're counting as though you didn't have a dietary regulation issue, either up or down, because we've been working with both people with mixed dietary issues. We've not let eating disorders come in and work with them yet, just people who are on different kinds of medications and stuff that make it harder to eat or harder to not eat and stuff like that. So our bracelet plan includes what would be 3 medium meals a day, where you're eating to that comfortable level, but you could go for like a nice walk afterward and everything. You're getting 2 snacks to like a 3 every day, and then you're getting a drink, like a coffee with cream in it, maybe even a soda. I usually have diet soda with mine. And it's based on the amount of hunger that you're feeling. So sometimes what would be a 5 one day isn't going to be a 5 the next day. You're going, if you've had like a really hard day, or you've been burning a lot of calories, if you're feeling extra hungry, that 5 might mean a little bit more. But one thing that I do like to do is, if a meal would normally be a 5, sometimes, or if I have like a snack, like I'll have some cheese crackers or something like that, and I'll notice that some of my stuff counts as invisible food. And I wanted to kind of discuss that too. A lot of these food companies, especially processed food, they design food to not feel like it's anything. So if you're trying to eat like to a 5 of Cheez-Its, you're probably going to get a stomach ache from all the chemicals in it before you even get that full, right? And you'll have eaten way too many calories worth of Cheez-Its. Or like for dinner tonight, I had this lovely bowl of homemade chicken soup, and you're like, well, chicken soup's not going to cause a problem. Well, mine does. It's got so much fat in it and stuff from all the bone broth that I make and I don't skim, and I put potatoes and all the chicken and all this other stuff in there. It's near 300 calories a bowl. So suddenly if you're trying to have 2 bowls of that, that's like 600 calories. And if you're trying to keep that under your meal at 5 beads, I mean, that's starting to push up there in the range. Like, we're not calorie counting, but aren't we? We're trying to kind of get away from that strict calorie counting, but we're still looking at the food. We're still looking at our macros. What it's trying to do is just drive us into focusing on our intuition and when we eat, and it kind of reminds us not to do all this mindless stuff. So one of the things that I like to do is just use some of the bulking fillers and stuff. So I went to Costco and I got one of those great big double bags of baby carrots. And so if I have like what I think should be, like, I'll pull out those Cheez-Its and I'll pull out like a handful of them and I'll put them in a bowl, and it's like, if this was a bowl of nuts, I wouldn't be able to finish it full. You know what I mean? It's like a handful. It's probably like 3 or 4 ounces of Cheez-Its. But if you look at it, it's like a serving also. It's like one of those little snack pack bags of Cheez-Its, and that should be enough for like a snack, you know what I mean? Well, let's say it wasn't, and I didn't feel it, but like I've already been eating that day well, and like because I've got my intuition bracelet on, because I've been thinking about my dietary regulation, because I'm listening to my body and my brain better when it comes to food, I can take that and then fill up that same bowl with some carrot sticks, and then sit there and munch on these, very, very, very macro-friendly carrot sticks until I feel satisfied to my 3. And sometimes that just kind of like shows the food back up, Or sometimes I'll take the psyllium husk shake, and if I have something that just, it seems like it definitely should have, filled me up more. And I'm sitting there and looking at those calories. I know I'm eating ice cream, but it doesn't fill me up. You can have one of those psyllium husk shakes, really fast or whatever. Sometimes if I'm eating, another thing is if I know I'm getting a lot of calories, I'll definitely make myself my Stanley Cup protein shake with coffee mixed into it and ice. That turns my little protein shake into a big 40-ounce, protein coffee. And yeah, it's still only 25 grams of protein, but it turns it into like this volume, which combines with the coffee to kind of like reduce any kind of hunger cravings that I could be having. And that keeps me going too. That being said, if say this last week, I lost like 7 pounds, and now my body is starting to catch on to the idea that it's on a diet, so even if you're doing the regulation, we're still not obviously if I stick to the bracelet, the pounds are gonna strong arm their way down, but that's not what we're trying to do here. We're trying to create an actual intuitive diet. And so last night, I've been having trouble with insomnia, and I hate it because I'm just the worst at this sometimes. And so I was up late again, and when I'm up really late, sometimes I snack more. And so, I'm out of beads, and what am I supposed to do when I'm out of beads and stuff like that? Well, I take a tip from some of the older weight loss plans, and I'm like, well, what wouldn't have been points for them? Yeah. And, so I'll go back to my bag of carrot sticks, or, some other kind of fruit or vegetable. I keep my chocolate or lemon jello Pro-Yo in the refrigerator, my mixed up there, so that I can have a dessert that's a little heavier protein. And I always tell people, we are not here to cause more service disruptions to our nervous system over food. We already have issues with stress and food, usually if we're having regulation issues either way. So if you're under eating and you don't get all your points, we don't want you sitting there eating until you throw up so you can go to sleep that night. And we don't want you, if you're on a diet and you're trying not to go over your beads, we don't want you up until 3 a.m. crying because you're hungry. You know what I mean? None of that is okay. Your body fluctuates. And so, for me, it's more just it's more like an intuitive signal. It just reminds me. I can even, sometimes I can go back and I'll be like, oh, how did I get this far? And I can sit there and count back the beads and be like, oh, I ate this, I ate this, I ate this. And then I can just kind of think about my macros and kind of decide if I'm going to be eating over, well, is it because I went kind of bonkers and was eating celery sticks for everything all day? Obviously I'm still hungry, but if I go back and it was well, there was that cheesecake, you know what I mean? There was that Costco hot dog plus all the snacks. There was that, you know what I mean? And it turns into it sort of lets me know, you know what I mean? Maybe do the can of beans trick thing, maybe have the carrot sticks, maybe something on the lower fat, lower range. Probably not Cheez-Its to make up for this. Probably nothing that's going to disappear as far as food goes. Even one of my favorite things is soup. But for crying out loud, I can eat an entire pot of soup to myself, and that's a good way to get yourself 1,000 liquid calories that you just don't even feel. It's just whoosh, because your body is just not really designed to notice that. And food scientists know. So if you're into those potato chips, you know what I mean? We always try to recommend switching to something a little better. Today I had some air popped popcorn with just some olive oil sprayed on it, because I got one of those little manual sprayers so that my olive oil would be perfect, And so I, sprayed some extra virgin olive oil, put some salt on it, and had some nice popcorn instead of potato chips or anything else, because I can eat so much popcorn that instead of having my little bag of potato chips, I can go ahead and eat that whole bowl of popcorn, and that's going to be my 5 points, And at the end of the day, diet is supposed to be, it is a small fluctuation. Even people who are naturally thin regularly fluctuate 5 pounds, even 10 pounds at a time. You just don't really tend to notice, and a lot of times neither do they. So when we're talking about regulation, there is a certain amount of benefit to staying perfectly regulated. We aren't really, in my idea, we're not trying to do that. For me, we're trying to get into like an intuitive eating. It's going to depend on sort of where your baseline is. You're going to kind of go along with what you feel is right, and you're going to listen to your body. It's about reconnecting and listening to your body more than anything. And that's why we don't really assign a certain amount of calories to a certain amount of beads. We don't want to make it too complicated. But I did want to mention that, like, if I'm at Costco and I'm getting that hot dog, that's going to be, you know, pretty much a solid 5, even if I don't feel it until I start drinking my Diet Coke. Suddenly I'm drinking my Diet Coke. Now it feels like a, you know, an 8 or something meal. But I know at the end of the day, it was like a 500 calorie hot dog because I only ate half of the bun, which like saved me 80 calories. And I did get my Coke Zero or whatever. So, you know, I mean, we work it out, but we always want it to kind of make sense. This isn't really something where, like, you know, if you're eating bacon and Cheez-Its all day, it's not going to help you lose weight. If you're eating celery sticks all day, we're going to have to send you in for some help for that. You know what I mean? What this is just meant to bring your mindset back to your food so that you can eat in an intuitive way. The rest of it's just the program. We're manifesting the future version of ourselves by using, you know, vision work, but also we know that that's going to take effort on our behalf, so we kind of have to be that person that fits in the manifestation. We want to be grateful to everything in ourselves the whole time. I promise gratitude is the key to opening up doors. And we always want to make sure that we follow satisfaction over happiness, because happiness is the worst bunny to chase. It will always run from you if you're chasing happiness. If you're chasing satisfaction, happiness will come to you. You'll actually find yourself much more happy when you are satisfied with yourself, when you're satisfied with your deeds, when you're satisfied that you had done the best you could that day. That's the kind of stuff that'll calm and regulate your nervous system. And we want to kind of just take away from these like hungry wolf feelings, you know, and head into like the calm one, you know. But I was talking about this with myself earlier. The two wolf theory, you know. We've got, especially if ADHD, but I'm assuming people with food noise have this wolf too, you know what I mean? ADHD, I call it my little gremlin. You know, that little impulse disorder that wants to get that extra thing, that ice cream that I'm not even hungry for, it's always yapping. She's always hungry, you know. So if I can't just feed this wolf that's being good over here and let this one die, this one's not going away. This one stays with me no matter what. You know, so although I do want to strengthen this one, we're going to try to kind of soothe and calm this one down. Every once in a while, we're still going to have to feed that wolf a little bit so it doesn't get too starving and take over and eat this wolf and then tell us, oh, I'm the only wolf left. Now you're going to get me that cheesecake, you know? If we put ourselves on too much of a restriction, your brain's going to have an entire conniption fit. And if you already deal with food noise, you're going to really be dealing with that food noise. So we really, really want to, even though we're trying to stay with our beads, we really want to stay very, very, very connected to what we're actually doing. And what we're actually doing is we're regulating our nervous system. We're choosing good things that are going to be good for us, and we're tracking it in a mild way that lets us not have to think about it too much, and we really don't want to add worry to our day and to our diet. That's not what we're doing here. So we're running a little bit long, and so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I hope you have had a fantastic week, and I hope you remember to treat yourselves very, 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 very well, even if it means extra snacks, guys. Cheers.